Hello all, welcome to Soumya Tutorials. Class PCA 5th semester Cbcs syllabus Analysis of Designing Algorithm. This is the session number 1. Chapter 1 Introduction. Introduction to Analysis of Designing Algorithm. First, let me know about what is an algorithm. Introduction about the analysis of designing algorithm. Here, what is an algorithm? An algorithm can be defined as in both the formal definition and also the informal definition. Based on informal definition, an algorithm is any well-defined computational procedure that takes some value or a set of value as an input and produces a set of value or some value as an output. Thus, algorithm is a sequence of computational steps that transforms the input into a output format. This definition we can call it as informal definition. So then, what is a formal definition of an algorithm? An algorithm is a finite set of instructions that, if followed, accomplishes a particular task. In other words, an algorithm is a step-by-step process to solving a particular problem. This is also a formal definition of an algorithm. Then we move on to the next slide here, characteristics of an algorithm. In addition to all the algorithm, it should satisfy these types of criteria. So what are the criteria are here? Input, output, definiteness, finiteness, and also effectiveness. Input means what? In any algorithm, we have to inputting at least 0 or it is more quantities are externally supplied to the algorithm. So that is 0 or more quantities are externally supplied. Output. This is the second criteria. At least one quantity is produced as an output. So this is a second criteria. At least one quantity is produced. Definiteness. Each instructions, it should be clear and unambiguous. That means no doubtful. So that means each instructions is clear and unambiguous. So this we can call it as definiteness. Then the next is finiteness. If we trace out the instructions of an algorithm, then for all the cases, the algorithm terminates after a finite number of steps. So that means a minimum number of steps. This characteristics we can call it as a finiteness. Then the last one is effectiveness. Every instructions must very basic so that it can be carried out in a principle of by a person using pencil or a paper. So that means every instructions it must be very basic, that is very simple. So this characteristic we can call it as a effectiveness. So these are all the some of the basic criteria of an algorithms. Then we move on to the next slide here, algorithm specification. So algorithm can be described in the three ways. Natural language like in English, graphical representation that is called as a flowchart, then pseudocode method. The first one is natural language like an English. When this way it is used to care that it should be taken, we should ensure that each and every statement is clear. Natural language like an English statement here is that we should ensure that each and every statement is clear. This is we can call it as a natural language like an English. Second method is graphic representation. This we can call it as a flowchart. The graphical representation of algorithm is called flowchart. And this method we will work well when algorithm is a very small and also a simple method. Third way is pseudocode method. Pseudocode method. In this method, we should typically describe algorithm as a program which resembles like Pascal and also Algol format. This we can call it as a pseudocode method. On this method, we should typically describe algorithm as a program which resembles like an Pascal and also algorithm. This is method we can call it as pseudocode method. So there are the three ways can algorithm can be described in three ways. Then we move on to the next slide here, pseudocode conventions. Pseudocode, which means that algorithm can be described as an programs. So in this, the conventions each which are the number of conventions that are first one we can call it as the first convention is in algorithm the comments begins with a double slash and continue until the end of the line. The first convention is all the comments which begins with the double slash and continue until the end of the line. This is a first convention. Second convention is blocks. Blocks are indicated with the matching braces, opening flower bracket and also the closing flower bracket. This is a second convention. Third convention is an identifier begins with a letter. What is an identifier? Identifiers are the names given to the programming elements. These values can be changed during execution of the program. This is called as an identifier. An identifier begins with a letter. The data types of variable are not explicitly declared in this type of a convention. The fourth convention is compound data types can be formed with the records. So here is an example. The node equal to record opening flower bracket data type 1 and a data type 1, data type 2 and a data up to n number of a data type with the n data and the node which has a pointer variable star length. Here the star is a pointer variable to the record type node. Individual data items of a record can be accessed with arrow mark symbol or a parent. That means a dot operator. So this is and the compound data types can be formed with the record. Fifth convention is assignment of a value to a variable is done using assignment operator. This is process we can call it as a initialization. Assignment of values to a variable is done using assignment operator. The expression which means that the variable which is equal to expression. The expression as an value, either it is a value or it is any expression which is assigned to some variable. Sixth convention is there are two Boolean values, either it is true or it is a false. So the results of this true or a false from the logical operators or from a relational operator. The logical operators such as and or not. The results of this logical operator either from the true or false. So same as like that the results of the relational operators, the operators such as less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, double equal or not equal. The results from these the relational operator, these are also a true or false. These are Boolean values. Seventh convention is the following looping statements are employed. The looping which means that the set of statements are repeatedly executed again and again until some condition is satisfied. The some of the examples for the looping statements which are while, do while and for. So here is that for, while, repeat until, we can call it as a do while statement. The first syntax, it is while loop. While condition, do, it is a keyword. Within a flower bracket, the statement should be present. So here is that the while, it is a pre-tested looping statement because it tests the condition at the beginning of the loop. So here also the set of statements are repeatedly executed again and again until some condition is satisfied. This is, we can call it as a while looping statement. The second syntax is for loop. So here the for loop, it is an fixed execution structure. Here we already know that how many number of the times the statements are to be repeated. Here for variable which is equal to value, value 1 to the value n, that means value 2. So that is value 1 is an initial value, value 2 and the final value. So step 2, these two are the keywords. So here the statement 1 up to the statement n. So here also the set of statements are repeatedly executed again and again until some condition is satisfied. The third syntax is repeat until, we can also call it as a do while statement. So do while, it is post-tested looping structure because it tests the condition at the end of the loop. Here also the set of statements are repeatedly executed again and again until some condition is satisfied. This is the do while statement. We can also call it as a repeat until in the pseudocode. Then the eighth convention is a conditional statements. The conditional statement has in the two forms. The one is an if statement. Second one is an if else statement. So simple if statement, here the one way decision making statement. The set of statement the set of statements are true when the condition is true. In the simple if statement, if the condition is true, the statements are to be executed. If the condition isn't false, then go to the next statements. In the second format, if else statement, here this is the two-way decision making statements. When the condition is true, the statement 1 is executed. When the condition isn't false, the statement 2 is executed. Then the case statement, here, this is, we can call it as switch case statement. Switch case is the multiple decision making statement. So here the case, the condition 1, the statement 1 is executed. Then the condition 2, the statement 2 is executed. Or the condition n, the statement n is executed. Or else some default statements are to be present here. This statement n is. So this is the switch case statement in the pseudocode convention. The switch case, it is the multiple decision making statement. Then the ninth convention, input and also outputs are done using the sum of the instructions read and also write. So read for an input and write for an output. When convention is, there is only one type of a procedure. The procedures we can also call it as a functions. So functions means what? The larger or lengthier program can be divided into number of subunits. That all we can call it as a functions. So here the procedures are defined in this format: algorithm name space parameter list. So here is an example. The following algorithm, this fields and returns the maximum of n given numbers. So in this example, it contains all the conventions are to be present here. So how the procedures are to be written. And the second statement, it is in a comment section. The next is how the opening braces and closing braces are to be present here. Then how the for statements are to be defined here, and how if conditional statements are to be defined here, how assignment statements are to be present here. All the conventions are present in this example. Thank you. If you like my videos, please do subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon for the notification of the new videos. Thank you so much.